Lisa Martinez wiped the sweat from her forehead as she cleaned table number 12 for the third time that morning. The rag in her hand was already dirty, but she kept scrubbing the metal surface until it shined. The Stellar Junction Diner was one of the busiest places on Orbital Station Phoenix, and Lisa had been working there for almost 4 years now. The diner sat right in the middle of the station's main hub, where travelers from all across the galaxy stopped to eat and rest. Through the large windows, Lisa could see spaceships coming and going like busy bees. Some were small personal craft, others were huge cargo ships carrying goods between planets. The sight still amazed her sometimes, even after all these years living in space. But today, like every other day, Lisa had no time to watch the ships. She had tables to clean, orders to take, and customers to serve. Her feet already hurt, and her shift had only started 3 hours ago. She still had 9 more hours to go before she could see her son Danny. Danny was 8 years old, and the most important thing in Lisa's life. Every morning, she dropped him off at the station's child care center before starting her double shift at the diner. The center was safe and clean, but Lisa wished she could spend more time with her boy. Instead of playing games with him or helping him with his homework, she was here serving food to strangers. "Lisa, table 7 needs their order taken," called Maya Chen from behind the counter. Maya had been working at the diner for 2 years and was one of Lisa's closest friends. She understood what it was like to work long hours for little pay. Lisa grabbed her notepad and walked over to table 7. A family of blue-skinned aliens sat there looking at their menus with confused expressions. The father had 4 arms and was trying to hold the menu with all of them at once. The mother had large, round eyes that blinked slowly. Their 2 children looked just like smaller versions of their parents. "Good morning," Lisa said with a smile. "What can I get for you today?" The father looked up at her and spoke in broken English. "We want food, like humans eat." Lisa nodded. This happened often. Many alien visitors wanted to try human food, but they didn't always know what to order. "I recommend the pasta with tomato sauce. It's simple and most people like it. Or maybe the chicken sandwich." The family talked among themselves in their own language for a moment. Then the father nodded. "4. Pasta, please." "Coming right up," Lisa said, writing down their order. She walked back to the kitchen and handed the order to Carlos Rivera, the cook. Carlos had been working at the diner longer than anyone else. He was a good cook and an even better friend. "Another family wanting to try human food?" Carlos asked with a grin. "Yep. 4 pasta plates." Lisa leaned against the counter for a moment. Her legs were already tired. "How many more hours? Until closing?" Carlos looked at the clock on the wall. "About 8.5. But hey, at least it's busy today. Busy means more tips." Lisa hoped he was right. She needed every credit she could get. The rent for her small apartment on the station was expensive, and Danny needed new clothes. He was growing so fast that his pants were already too short again. But the real reason Lisa worked so hard was Danny's dream. Her son wanted to go to Earth Academy, the best school in human space. Students at Earth Academy learned about history, science, and art from teachers who came from the home planet itself. Danny loved learning about Earth and dreamed of walking on real grass and seeing real animals. The problem was the cost. Earth Academy charged 50,000 credits per year, plus living expenses. Lisa had been saving every extra credit for 3 years, but she only had 12,000 saved so far. At this rate, it would take her many more years to save enough money. Sometimes Lisa lay awake at night wondering if Danny's dream would ever come true. She wanted to give him everything, but working at the diner only paid so much. The station owners were rich, but they paid their workers as little as possible. "Order up," Carlos called out. Lisa grabbed the 4 plates of pasta and carried them to table 7. The alien family smiled when she set the food down. "Thank you," the mother said in careful English. "You, very kind." "You're welcome. Enjoy your meal." Lisa smiled back. Even when she was tired and worried about money, she tried to be kind to everyone. Her mother had taught her that kindness cost nothing but meant everything. The rest of the morning passed quickly. Lisa served breakfast to tired space travelers, lunch to busy station workers and snacks to families with young children. Some customers were friendly and left good tips. Others barely looked at her and left nothing extra at all. During her short break, Lisa sat in the small employee room behind the kitchen. She pulled out her phone and looked at a picture of Danny from last week. He was grinning at the camera, missing 2 front teeth. In the picture, he was holding a book about Earth's history that he had borrowed from the station's library. Maya sat down next to her. "Looking at Danny again?" "Always," Lisa said. "He lost another tooth yesterday. He's so excited because he thinks the tooth fairy will bring him credits." Maya laughed. "Did you tell him the tooth fairy isn't real?" "Not yet. Let him believe in magic a little longer." Lisa put her phone away. "He asked me again about Earth Academy yesterday. I didn't know what to tell him." "You'll find a way," Maya said. "You always do." Lisa hoped her friend was right, but she was running out of ideas. She had already picked up extra shifts whenever possible. She had sold everything she didn't absolutely need. She even walked to work instead of taking the station's transport to save a few credits each day. The afternoon shift started with a rush of new customers. A big cargo ship had just docked, and the crew came to the diner for food. Lisa ran from table to table, taking orders and bringing drinks. Her feet hurt more with each step, but she kept going. By evening, Lisa was exhausted. Her back ached from carrying heavy trays and her smile felt forced. But she had made decent tips today, almost 30 credits. Every credit brought Danny a little closer to his dream school. As Lisa wiped down the last table of her shift, she thought about her son waiting for her at home. Soon she would pick him up from childcare, and they would eat dinner together. Danny would tell her about his day and show her what he had learned. For a few hours, she could forget about work and money and just be his mom. Tomorrow would bring another long day at the diner, but tonight belonged to Danny. And that made all the hard work worth it. The next morning started like any other at the Stellar Junction diner. Lisa arrived early to help set up the tables and prepare for the breakfast rush. She had gotten only 5 hours of sleep because Danny had a bad dream and crawled into her bed around midnight, but she didn't mind. Being there for her son was more important than sleep. Carlos was already in the kitchen, cooking eggs and making coffee. The smell of fresh bread filled the air. Maya was wiping down the counter and checking that all the salt and pepper shakers were full. These small morning tasks helped Lisa feel ready for another busy day. "Did you hear the news?" Maya asked as Lisa tied her apron around her waist. "Some big shot is coming to the station today." "What kind of big shot?" Lisa asked. "Important people. Visited the station all the time. Usually they ate at the fancy restaurants on the upper levels, not at the simple diner where she worked." "I don't know. Something about peace talks between those alien groups that have been fighting. The Zephyrians. And the Crystal people, I think." Maya shrugged. "Probably just means more security guards walking around." Lisa nodded and started filling the coffee machines. She didn't pay much attention to galactic politics. She was too busy trying to take care of Danny and make enough money to survive. Wars between alien species seemed like problems for other people to solve. The breakfast rush started right on time. Space travelers who had arrived during the night came looking for hot food and strong coffee. Lisa moved from table to table, taking orders and bringing plates of eggs, toast, and fruit. Her feet still hurt from yesterday, but she pushed through. The pain. Around 10 in the morning, things got strange. First, 2 security guards in black uniforms walked through the diner. They looked at every table and talked quietly into their wrist communicators. Then more guards appeared, standing near the entrances and exits. "What's going on?" Carlos asked, poking his head out of the kitchen. "I have no idea," Lisa said. She had never seen so many security guards in the diner before. The other customers were starting to look nervous too. Maya walked over to one of the guards. "Excuse me, is everything okay?" The guard looked at her with serious eyes. "Just routine security checks. Please continue with your work." 10 minutes later, the diner's manager, Mr. Peterson, came running out of his office. His face was red and he was breathing hard like he had been running. "Listen up, everyone. We're about to have some very important customers." I want this place spotless. No mistakes, no dropped plates, no spilled drinks. Do you understand? Lisa, Maya, and Carlos all nodded. They had never seen Mr. Peterson so excited or nervous before. Who's coming? Maya asked. Mr. Peterson straightened his tie. Diplomatic party. Very important people. Just do your jobs and everything will be fine. The guards moved all the regular customers to one side of the diner. They set up a special section with 3 tables pushed together. Lisa wondered what kind of important people needed so much space and security. She didn't have to wait long to find out. The door opened and the strangest group of beings Lisa had ever seen walked in. There were 2 aliens who looked like they were made of living crystal. Their bodies caught the light and threw rainbow colors across the walls. Behind them came 3 aliens with gray skin and no hair. They wore military uniforms covered in medals, but the person who made Lisa's heart skip a beat was the human walking in the middle of the group. He was tall with dark hair that had some gray in it. His clothes were simple but well made. He moved, with quiet confidence like someone who was used to being in charge but didn't need to show off about it. Lisa recognized him immediately. Everyone in human space knew that face. It was Keanu Reeves, the most famous person in the galaxy. He had been making movies for hundreds of years, but now he was known for something much more important. He helped solve problems between different alien species. He was like a galactic peacemaker. Oh my stars, Maya whispered. That's really him. Lisa felt her hands start to shake. She had never served anyone famous before. What if she messed up? What if she dropped something or said the wrong thing? Mr. Peterson hurried over to the group. Welcome to Stellar Junction Diner. We're honored to have you here. Please, sit wherever you'd like. Keanu smiled at the manager. Thank you. This looks like a nice, comfortable place. His voice was warm and friendly. Not at all what Lisa expected from someone so famous. She watched as the group sat down at the prepared tables. The crystal aliens sat very straight and barely moved. The gray-skinned, military aliens kept looking around like they expected trouble, but Keanu seemed relaxed and happy to be there. Mr. Peterson looked around the diner and his eyes landed on Lisa. You, come here. Lisa's stomach dropped. Why was he picking her? She was just a regular server. Surely someone else should wait on. Such important customers. I want you to take their order, Mr. Peterson said quietly. Be polite. Don't talk too much. And whatever you do, don't mess this up. Lisa nodded. Even though her heart was beating so fast she could hear it in her ears, she grabbed her notepad and walked slowly toward the table where Keanu sat. Good morning, she said, trying to keep her voice steady. Welcome to our diner. My name is Lisa, and I'll be taking care of you today. Keanu looked up at her and smiled. It was a real smile, not the fake kind that important people sometimes gave to regular workers. Thank you, Lisa. It's nice to meet you. The crystal alien on his right spoke in a voice that sounded like wind chimes. We require sustenance appropriate for our species' metabolism. Lisa blinked. She had no idea what that meant. Could you tell me what kinds of food you can eat? The gray-skinned alien across the table made a sound like a grunt. Do you not know the dietary requirements of the crystalline empire? Lisa felt her face turn red. I'm sorry, I don't. But I'd be happy to ask our cook if he can make something special for you. Keanu held up his hand. It's okay. How about we start simple? I'll just have a cheeseburger and coffee. Black coffee. Lisa wrote that down, relieved to have an order she understood. What about everyone else? The crystal beings looked at each other and made musical sounds Lisa couldn't understand. Finally, one of them said, We will consume energy crystals from our own supplies. The military aliens ordered something called battle rations, which Lisa had never heard of but Carlos might know about. As Lisa wrote down the orders, Keanu asked, Have you worked here long? 4 years, Lisa said. It's a good job. Do you like it here on the station? Lisa nodded. It's home. My son and I have a nice apartment. You have a son? How old is he? 8. His name is Danny. Lisa found herself smiling when she talked about her boy. He loves learning about Earth and space history. That's wonderful, Keanu said. Smart kids are the future. Lisa felt herself relaxing a little. Keanu was nothing like she expected a famous person to be. He seemed genuinely interested in what she had to say. The other aliens at the table were watching their conversation with curious expressions. "I'll get your order started," Lisa said. She walked back to the kitchen, her hand still shaking but not from fear anymore. She couldn't wait to tell Danny that she had met the famous Keanu Reeves. Lisa walked back to the kitchen with shaky hands. She couldn't believe she had just talked to Keanu Reeves like he was any other customer. But that was exactly how he had treated her, like a normal person worth talking to. "Carlos," she called out. "I need 1 cheeseburger and black coffee. Also, do you know what battle rations are?" Carlos looked up from the grill where he was cooking eggs. "Battle rations? Those military aliens want those?" "Yeah, I can make something like that. It's basically dried meat, hard bread, and energy paste. Not very tasty, but it fills you up." "Thanks. And Carlos?" Lisa lowered her voice. "That's really Keanu Reeves out there." Carlos dropped his spatula. "The Keanu Reeves? The movie star who helps make peace between alien worlds." "The same one. He ordered a cheeseburger like it was nothing special." "Wow." Carlos picked up his spatula and got back to work. "I better make the best cheeseburger of my life then." While Carlos cooked, Lisa brought coffee to the other tables in the diner. The regular customers kept staring at the famous group, but they tried to be polite about it. Lisa noticed that Keanu was talking quietly with the alien diplomats, but she couldn't hear what they were saying. The crystal aliens, who she now knew were from the Crystalline Empire, pulled out small, glowing stones from their bags. They held the stones up to the light and seemed to absorb energy from them. It was the strangest way of eating Lisa had ever seen. When the food was ready, Lisa carefully carried the tray to their table. The cheeseburger looked perfect, with melted cheese and fresh lettuce. The battle rations looked less appealing. Gray, chunks of meat, dark bread, and a bowl of thick paste that barely looked like food. "Here you go," Lisa said, setting down Keanu's plate. 1 cheeseburger and black coffee." "This looks great, thank you," Keanu said. He picked up the burger and took a bite. This is really good. Please tell your cook I said so." The military aliens looked at their battle rations with grim expressions, but they started eating, without complaint. One of them, a female with scars on her gray face, looked up at Lisa. "This is acceptable nutrition. We thank you." "You're welcome," Lisa said. She started to walk away, but Keanu called her back. "Lisa, if you don't mind me asking, what does your son want to be when he grows up?" Lisa felt her heart warm up when she talked about Danny. "He wants to be a historian. He loves learning about Earth and how humans spread across the galaxy. His biggest dream is to go to Earth Academy." "Earth Academy?" One of the crystal aliens made a sound like gentle music. "That is a fine institution. We have sent several of our young ones there for cultural exchange." "It must be expensive," Keanu said, taking another bite of his burger. Lisa felt her cheeks turn red. She didn't want to complain about money to someone so important. "It costs quite a lot, but we're saving up. Danny's smart enough to get in. I just need to work a little longer to afford it." Keanu nodded thoughtfully but didn't say anything more. He continued eating while the aliens discussed their peace talks in low voices. Lisa went back to serving her other customers, but she kept glancing over at the famous table. About halfway through their meal, something happened that Lisa would never forget. She was carrying a heavy tray of dishes to another table when she stumbled. The tray was about to fall and crash to the floor, sending broken plates everywhere, but before it could happen, Keanu was there. He had jumped up from his seat and caught the tray with both hands, saving the dishes and probably saving Lisa from getting in trouble with Mr. Peterson. "Careful there," he said with a kind smile. "These trays can be tricky." "Thank you so much," Lisa said, her face burning with embarrassment. "I'm so sorry, I don't usually drop things." "Don't worry about it, we all have clumsy moments." Keanu helped her balance the tray properly. "Here, let me help you carry this." "Oh no, you don't have to do that. You're a customer. And you're working hard to take care of everyone. The least I can do is lend a hand." Keanu walked with Lisa to the other table and helped her set down the dishes. The customers at that table stared with wide eyes as one of the most famous people in the galaxy served their food. But Keanu acted like it was the most natural thing in the world. The alien diplomats watched this whole scene with great interest. The crystal beings leaned toward each other and made soft musical sounds. The military alien stopped eating and observed every detail of what was happening. When Keanu returned to his seat, the scarred military alien spoke to him in her rough voice. That was an unusual action. In our culture, leaders do not perform servant tasks, Keanu shrugged. In human culture, we help each other when we can. It doesn't matter who you are or what your job is. The crystal alien's voice sounded like wind chimes again. This behavior is consistent with reports we have received about human social structures. Very interesting. Lisa couldn't help but overhear this conversation as she refilled their coffee cups. She didn't understand why the aliens found Keanu's kindness so strange. To her, he was just being a decent person. As the meal continued, Lisa watched Keanu interact with everyone around him. When Maya walked by their table, he complimented her on how clean the diner was. When Carlos brought out fresh bread, Keanu shook his hand and thanked him personally. He even waved at the regular customers who were still sneaking glances at him. But what impressed Lisa most was how he treated her. Every time she came to their table, he asked about her day or made a friendly comment. He didn't act like he was too important to talk to a diner waitress. He listened when she spoke and seemed to really care about her answers. "Lisa," he said when she brought the check, "how long have you been saving for your son's education?" "About 3 years now," she said. "I pick up extra shifts when I can. Danny's worth every hour of work. He's lucky to have a mother who cares so much about his future." Lisa felt tears starting to form in her eyes. It had been a long time since anyone had recognized how hard she was working for Danny. Most people just saw her as a waitress, not as a mother doing everything she could for her child. "Thank you for saying that," she whispered. The aliens finished their meal and started preparing to leave. The crystal beings packed away their energy stones. The military aliens stood up and straightened their uniforms. But Keanu took his time, finishing his coffee slowly. "This was one of the best meals I've had in a long time," he told Lisa. "Not just because of the food, but because of the service. You made us feel welcome." "That's my job," Lisa said. "No," Keanu said quietly. "Kindness like yours isn't part of any job. It comes from the heart." As the group prepared to leave, Lisa felt sad to see them go. Meeting Keanu had been the highlight of her entire year. She would have a wonderful story to tell Danny when she got home. After Keanu and the alien diplomats left, the diner felt strangely quiet. The security guards were gone, and the regular customers went back to eating their meals and talking in normal voices. But Lisa couldn't stop thinking about the famous man who had been so kind to her. "I can't believe that just happened," Maya said, walking over to Lisa with wide eyes. "Keanu Reeves ate here, at our little diner. And he was so nice," Carlos added, coming out of the kitchen. "He shook my hand and said the burger was perfect. Wait until I tell my wife tonight." Lisa smiled at her friends, but part of her felt sad. Meeting Keanu had been amazing, but now it was over. She would probably never see him again. He would go back to his important work making peace between alien worlds, and she would go back to serving regular customers and worrying about Danny's future. The afternoon passed slowly. Lisa served lunch to space travelers and station workers. She cleaned tables and refilled coffee cups. Her feet still hurt, and she was tired from staying up late with Danny the night before. But she kept working because that's what she always did. Around 3 o'clock, when the lunch rush was finally over, Lisa started cleaning the table where Keanu had sat. She wiped down the surface and picked up the empty coffee cup. That's when she saw it. There was a piece of paper folded under the cup. At first, Lisa thought it might be trash that someone had left behind. But when she picked it up, she saw her name written on the outside in neat handwriting. Lisa's hand started to shake as she unfolded the note. The paper was thick and expensive looking, not like the cheap napkins they used in the diner. And what she read made her heart stop beating. "For a moment, Lisa," the note began, Your strength as a mother and your kindness to strangers, even while carrying your own heavy load, shows the best of what it means to be human. Danny is lucky to have you as his mother. I have taken care of his school fees for Earth Academy for the next 4 years, plus money for you both to live on. The galaxy needs more humans like you and Danny. Keep being the wonderful person you are. KR. Lisa read the note 3 times before the words started to make sense. Then she saw something else attached to the back of the paper. It was a credit transfer receipt. The amount made Lisa's eyes go wide with shock. 200,000 credits. Lisa had never seen so much money in her entire life. It was more than she made in 5 years of working at the diner. It was enough to pay for Danny's entire education at Earth Academy, plus their living expenses for years to come. It was enough to change their whole future. The note and the receipt slipped from Lisa's shaking hands and fell to the floor. She stood there, staring down at the papers, unable to believe what had just happened. Her legs felt weak and her heart was beating so fast she thought it might explode. Lisa? Maya's voice seemed to come from far away. Are you okay? You look like you've seen a ghost. Lisa couldn't speak. She couldn't even move. Maya walked over and picked up the papers from the floor. When she read them, her face went white. Oh, my stars, Maya whispered. Lisa, is this real? By now, Carlos had noticed something was wrong. He came over from the kitchen, wiping his hands on his apron. What's going on? Lisa, you look like you're about to faint. Maya handed him the note and the receipt. Carlos read them quickly and his mouth fell open. This can't be real. Nobody gives away this much money to a stranger. But it was real. Lisa could see the official bank codes on the transfer receipt. She could feel the expensive paper between her fingers. Most of all, she could remember the kindness in Keanu's eyes when he talked to her about Danny. That's when the tears started. They came slowly at first, just a few drops rolling down Lisa's cheeks. But then they came faster until she was crying so hard she couldn't breathe properly. All the stress and worry of the past few years came pouring out of her at once. Maya put her arms around Lisa and held her tight. It's okay, she said softly. It's going to be okay. I don't understand, Lisa sobbed. Why would he do this for us? He doesn't even know us. Because he's a good person, Carlos said, his own eyes getting watery. And because you're a good person too. You deserve this, Lisa. You and Danny both deserve this. Other people in the diner started to notice that something was happening. Some customers looked over with worried expressions. Mr. Peterson came out of his office to see what was wrong. What's all this crying about? He asked in his usual gruff voice. Maya showed him the note and receipt. Mr. Peterson read them twice, then looked at Lisa with new respect in his eyes. Well, I'll be damned, he said quietly. That's the kind of thing you hear about in stories, not real life. Word spread quickly through the diner. The customers who had seen Keanu earlier came over to congratulate Lisa. Even strangers who didn't know what had happened could tell it was something wonderful. The whole place felt warm and happy, like everyone was celebrating together. Lisa finally stopped crying long enough to call the bank and make sure the transfer was real. The bank officer confirmed that 200,000 credits had been deposited into her account just an hour ago. The money was really there. I have to tell Danny, Lisa said, wiping her eyes with a napkin. I have to call the childcare center and tell him the good news. But when she picked up her phone, her hands were still shaking too much to dial the number. Maya took the phone and made the call for her. Hello, this is Maya calling for Lisa Martinez. Could you please tell Danny that his mom has wonderful news to share with him? She'll be there to pick him up early today. After Maya hung up, Lisa sat down in one of the chairs. She felt dizzy and happy, and scared all at the same time. Her whole life had just changed in a single moment. Danny's dream of going to Earth Academy was going to come true. They wouldn't have to worry about money anymore. They could have a better apartment, better food, better everything. But more than that, Lisa felt something she hadn't felt in years. She felt hope, real hope for the future. I need to write him a thank you letter, Lisa said. How do you thank someone for changing your entire life? You start by saying thank you, Carlos said with a smile. Then you use the gift to make your son's dreams come true. That's probably what he wants most. Lisa nodded. She folded the note carefully and put it in her apron pocket, right over her heart. She would keep it there forever, as a reminder that sometimes, when you least expect it, the world can surprise you with kindness. As she got ready to leave work early to see Danny, Lisa thought about Keanu's words. He had called her strong and kind. He had said the galaxy needed more people like her and Danny. Maybe he was right. Maybe being a good person, even when life was hard, really did matter. Lisa couldn't wait to see the look on Danny's face when she told him his dream was coming true. 3 days after Keanu's visit to the diner, Ambassador Zixathala from the Crystalline Empire sat in her private quarters aboard the diplomatic ship. She was preparing her report for the High Council, back on her home world. But she kept thinking about what she had seen in that small human restaurant. The ambassador had been to many planets and met many different species during her long career. She had seen acts of kindness before, but never anything quite like what Keanu Reeves had done for the waitress named Lisa. In crystalline society, important people only helped those who could help them back. It was a simple rule that everyone understood. But Keanu had helped Lisa without asking for anything in return. He didn't even tell her about it while he was there. He just left the money and walked away. This kind of behavior was completely new to Zixathala. She picked up her communication device and began recording her message to the High Council. Honored leaders, I must report on something unusual I witnessed during the peace talks. The human mediator Keanu Reeves demonstrated a behavior that may be key to understanding why humans are so successful at solving conflicts between other species. Zixathala went on to describe everything she had seen in the diner. She told them about Lisa's tired face and worn uniform. She explained how Keanu had listened to Lisa talk about her son with genuine interest. Most importantly, she described the moment when Keanu had jumped up to help Lisa when she almost dropped the heavy tray. This human leader treated a service worker with the same respect he showed to us, Zixathala said into the recording device. He helped her without being asked and without expecting any reward. If humans show such care for their own people who have little power, perhaps we can trust them to be fair mediators between our empire and the Zephyrians. On the other side of the station, General Mordoon from the Zephyrian Republic was having similar thoughts. He sat in the military section of the diplomatic quarters, writing his own report for the War Cabinet. General Mordoon had spent most of his life fighting battles. In his world, strength was everything. The strong protected the weak, but only if the weak served the strong in return. It was the natural order of things. But watching Keanu in the diner had confused him. Here was one of the most powerful humans in the galaxy. Someone who could probably command armies if he wanted to. Yet he had spent his time talking to a simple waitress about her child. He had even carried her dishes like a servant. Fellow warriors, General Mordoon wrote in his report, I have seen something that challenges my understanding of human behavior. Their leader showed kindness to someone who could give him nothing in return. This was not weakness as I first thought. It was a different kind of strength. The general described how the other humans in the diner had watched Keanu with admiration, not surprise. This told him that such behavior was normal in human society, not unusual. If humans care for their weakest members without expecting payment, they might truly be neutral in our conflict with the Crystalline Empire. They may be the mediators we need to end this long war. Both reports reached their homeworlds within hours. The Crystalline High Council gathered in their Crystal Palace to discuss the ambassador's message. The Zephyrian War Cabinet met in their fortress to hear General Mordoon's words. Meanwhile, back on Orbital Station Phoenix, Lisa's story was spreading in a different way. Word had gotten out about Keanu's generous gift, and the news was traveling through the human community like wildfire. It started when Maya told her sister about what had happened. Maya's sister worked in the station's communication center, and she mentioned it to her coworkers. Within hours, people all over the station were talking about the famous actor who had changed a waitress's life with a simple act of kindness. Someone posted the story on the Galactic Communication Network, and it spread to other stations and planets. Humans everywhere were reading about Lisa and Danny, and many of them were inspired to help people in their own communities. On Luna Station, a group of engineers started a fund to help single parents pay for their children's education. On Mars, Colony, restaurant workers began leaving larger tips for each other when they ate out. On Earth itself, movie theaters started showing Keanu's old films for free, with all donations going to scholarship funds. The story reached the Earth Academy, where Danny hoped to study someday. The school's director, Dr. Maria Santos, read about Lisa and her son with great interest. She had met Keanu several times at charity events, and this act of kindness sounded exactly like something he would do. Dr. Santos decided to make a special announcement to the Academy. We have just learned that one of our future students, Danny Martinez, will be joining us thanks to the generosity of a friend to education. But this story reminds us that we can all be friends to education. Starting next month, the Academy will offer 10 new scholarships each year for children of working families. The movement grew bigger every day. Humans began calling it Lisa's Light after the waitress whose story had started it all. People shared stories of kindness on social networks. They organized volunteer groups to help struggling families. They looked for ways to help others without expecting anything in return. Even non-humans began to take notice. Alien visitors to human stations and planets watched with curiosity as humans helped each other in small ways. They saw people giving up their seats on transport ships for tired workers. They watched as humans paid for strangers' meals in restaurants. They observed acts of kindness that seemed to have no purpose except making others happy. Some aliens found this behavior confusing. Others found it fascinating. A few found it inspiring enough to try helping others themselves. Back in the diplomatic quarters, Zixthala and General Mordoon met to discuss the peace talks. Both of them had received responses from their home governments. The High Council is impressed by your report about human behavior, Zixthala told the general. They believe humans may indeed be trustworthy mediators. The War Cabinet agrees, General Mordoon replied. They say any species that cares for its weakest members can be trusted to be fair to former enemies. Neither of them mentioned that they had been talking to other diplomats from different species. Word was spreading through the galactic diplomatic community that humans had something special. Other conflicts between alien races were starting to request human mediators. It seemed that one act of kindness in a small diner was changing how the entire galaxy saw humanity. And it all started because a famous man decided to help a tired waitress and her young son. The peace talks were going better than anyone had expected. Both sides were willing to compromise because they trusted Keanu to be fair. They had seen how he treated a stranger with kindness, so they believed he would treat them with respect. Within a week, the Crystalline Empire and the Zephyrian Republic would sign a peace agreement. The war that had lasted for 50 years would finally end. And though most people would never know it, part of the reason for that peace was a waitress named Lisa, who had served a burger with a smile. 3 months later, Lisa stood at the window of the transport ship looking down at Earth. The blue and green planet slowly grew larger as their ship got closer. Danny pressed his face against the glass next to her, his eyes wide with wonder. Mom, look at all that water, Danny said. And the clouds are so white and fluffy. It's even more beautiful than the pictures in my books. Lisa smiled and put her arm around her son. She still couldn't believe this was really happening. In just a few hours, Danny would be walking on the same planet where humans had first lived, millions of years ago. He would be starting his education at Earth Academy, the school of his dreams. The past 3 months had been like living in a wonderful dream. After Keanu's gift, everything in their lives had changed. Lisa had been able to quit her second job at the diner and only work part-time. This meant she could spend more time with Danny, helping him get ready for his big move to Earth. They had moved out of their tiny apartment on the station and into a bigger place with 2 bedrooms and a real kitchen. Danny had his own room for the first time in his life, with a desk where he could study and walls where he could hang pictures of Earth. The people on the station had been amazing too. When word got out about Lisa's story, the whole community had come together to help them. Maya and Carlos had organized a going-away party at the diner. Mr. Peterson, who had never been particularly nice to his workers before, had given Lisa a bonus and told her she could have her job back anytime she wanted. Even strangers had been kind. People would stop Lisa in the halls of the station to wish Danny good luck with his studies. Some had given him books about Earth history. Others had shared stories about their own time on the home planet. "Attention, passengers," came the voice from the ship's speakers. "We will be landing at Earthport in 30 minutes. Please return to your seats and prepare for arrival." Lisa and Danny found their seats and buckled in. Danny bounced with excitement while Lisa felt nervous butterflies in her stomach. She was happy for Danny, but she was also scared. Earth Academy was far from the space station where they had lived for so long. What if Danny got homesick? What if he had trouble making friends? As if he could read her thoughts, Danny took her. "Henderson, don't worry, Mom. Everything is going to be great, and I'll call you every day just like we planned." Lisa squeezed his hand. "I know you will, sweetheart. I'm so proud of you." When they landed on Earth, the first thing that surprised Lisa was the smell. The air smelled different from the recycled air on the station. It smelled fresh and green, like growing things. Danny took a deep breath and grinned. "It smells like life," he said. They took a ground transport to Earth Academy. The school was even more impressive in person than in the pictures they had seen. Beautiful old buildings made of real stone sat among gardens full of flowers and trees. Students walked along paths between the buildings, carrying books and talking with their friends. "Welcome to Earth Academy," said Dr. Maria Santos, the school director, when they arrived at the main office. "You must be Danny Martinez. We've been looking forward to meeting you." Danny shook her hand politely. "Thank you for letting me come. Here, this is my mom, Lisa." "It's wonderful to meet you both," Dr. Santos said. "Danny, would you like to see your dormitory room and meet some of the other students?" As they walked around the campus, Dr. Santos told them about the school's programs. Danny would study Earth history, galactic politics, and several alien languages. He would also learn about art, music, and literature from many different worlds. "We believe that understanding other cultures is the key to peace in the galaxy," Dr. Santos explained. "Students here don't just learn facts. They learn how to see the world through other people's eyes." That evening, after Danny was settled in his new room, Lisa sat with him in the Academy's garden. The sun was setting, painting the sky in colors she had never seen on the space station. Real birds sang in the trees above them. "I want to tell you something," Lisa said. "Mr. Reeves didn't just give us money. He gave us hope. He showed us that there are good people in the galaxy who care about others, even strangers. I want to be like that when I grow up," Danny said. "I want to help people the way he helped us." "You already do help people," Lisa said. "You're kind to everyone you meet. You share your toys with other kids. You help me when I'm tired. That's the same spirit that Mr. Reeves showed us." A week later, Lisa was back on Orbital Station Phoenix, working her part-time shifts at the diner. The work seemed easier now that she wasn't worried about money all the time. She actually enjoyed talking to customers and making them feel welcome. Maya and Carlos were still her best friends, and they loved hearing about Danny's adventures on Earth. Every evening, Danny would call and tell them about his classes, his new friends, and the amazing things he was learning. Today we learned about the peace treaty between the Crystalline Empire and the Zephyrian Republic, Danny told her during one call. "Our teacher said it was one of the most important peace agreements in galactic history, and guess what? It was negotiated by the same person who helped us." Lisa smiled. She had been following the news about the peace treaty. The war that had lasted 50 years was finally over. Billions of beings on both sides could now live without fear, and somehow, their small story was connected to that great achievement. Meanwhile, across the galaxy, the effects of Lisa's light continued to spread. Humans everywhere were finding ways to help each other. Scholarship funds were helping thousands of children get better educations. Community groups were taking care of elderly people and single parents. Random acts of kindness were happening every day on every human world. Other species had begun to take notice too. Alien governments were asking for human mediators to help solve their conflicts. The reputation of humans as peacemakers was growing stronger every month. In his office on Earth, Keanu Reeves sat at his desk reading reports from around the galaxy. There were updates on peace negotiations, requests for help with new conflicts, and thank you messages from people whose lives had been changed by human kindness. One message made him smile more than the others. It was from Lisa Martinez, thanking him again for his gift and telling him about Danny's progress at Earth Academy. She wrote about how his kindness had inspired their whole community to help each other more. Keanu carefully folded Lisa's letter and put it in a special drawer in his desk. The drawer was full of similar letters from people around the galaxy, proof that small acts of kindness could create waves of good that reached farther than anyone could imagine. He thought about Lisa and Danny, about the alien diplomats who had learned to trust humans, and about all the other people whose lives had been touched by simple human compassion. This was humanity's greatest gift to the galaxy, not their technology or their armies, but their ability to care about others. And it all started with a tired waitress who served a burger with a smile, and a famous man who decided to help a stranger's dream come true.